The lights flickered, and the smell of burnt plastic filled the night air. I ran to the window. Smoke poured from my neighbor Karen's garage, the one she bragged about like a trophy. For weeks she'd been secretly stealing my power to charge her Tesla. But that night, she finally learned electricity bites back. My name's John Miller. I'm a licensed electrician, husband, and a man who loves peace and order, both of which disappeared the day we moved into Lakeside Estates HOA. At first, the neighborhood looked perfect. Trimmed lawns, shiny cars, families waving hello. My wife Emma and I thought we'd found our forever home. Then we met Karen. She was the self-appointed queen of the HOA, short blonde hair, oversized sunglasses, always holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. She'd lecture people about recycling bins, lawn height, and aesthetic harmony. But her real obsession was showing off her brand new white Tesla Model Y. I didn't mind her attitude at first. Every neighborhood has one loud personality. But soon, I noticed she had an opinion on everything we did. Our garden lights were too bright. Our mailbox was too modern. Even the way Emma parked was slightly unaligned. I tried to laugh it off until my electric bill doubled for no reason. I checked every appliance, nothing. Emma joked, "Maybe Karen's secretly charging her Tesla from our socket." We laughed, but a seed of suspicion planted itself in my mind. A week later, I decided to investigate. This is what electricians do, we troubleshoot. I checked the breakers, the meter, even unplugged half the house overnight. Still, the numbers on the meter spun like a roulette wheel. Then one night, as I walked past the side fence, I noticed a faint orange glow behind the shrubs. I bent down and froze. An orange extension cord ran from my outdoor socket, under the fence and straight into Karen's garage. I unplugged it quietly and felt my blood pressure rise. The next morning, I installed a small motion-activated camera near that outlet. When I reviewed the footage that evening, there she was, Karen in her pink robe, sneaking out after midnight, flashlight in one hand, Tesla charger in the other. She smiled as she plugged it in, like she was doing something clever. Then she took a sip of her coffee, looked around, and strutted back into her garage. I couldn't decide whether to be angry or impressed. The nerve. When I told Emma, she sighed. "Please, John, don't start an HOA war." "I'm not," I said, staring at the footage. "But if she's going to steal my power, maybe I should show her what real power looks like." That line wasn't just a joke. It was the start of a plan. The next day, I walked to her driveway while she washed her car. "Morning, Karen," I said pleasantly. "Hey, funny thing. My camera caught an extension cord from my house to your garage. Maybe you didn't realize?" She looked at me like I'd accused her of murder. "Oh, that? I thought the outlet was community property. The HOA said it's fine for shared use." "That's my private line," I replied calmly. "You can't just..." She interrupted, smirking. "Are you seriously making a fuss over a few kilowatts? Maybe you should stop being so stingy." The next morning, a bright yellow envelope appeared on my door. Violation notice, unauthorized outdoor wiring. She'd reported me. I laughed in disbelief. She steals my power, and I get fined? Emma tried to calm me down. Just ignore her. But I couldn't. I'd spent years fixing problems for other people. It was time to fix one for myself. I stared at my electrical panel, the hum of voltage filling the air, and said quietly, "You want free power, Karen? You'll get it. Just not the kind you expect. Revenge isn't about rage, it's about timing." I spent the next few evenings designing a trap that was completely legal, totally safe, and very educational. I built a decoy outlet that looked identical to my real one but was connected to a surge protection relay. The moment a heavy load like a Tesla charger drew current, the relay would instantly trip and cut power, harmless to humans but devastating to electronics. It wouldn't shock her. It wouldn't hurt anyone. But her car's expensive charging module? That was another story. I tested it carefully with my own tools, flawless. Then I rerouted her favorite path through the shrubs and installed the decoy where she'd always plug in. Emma watched me coil the wires. "You're sure this won't cross a line?" I smiled. "No, honey. The only line being crossed is the one in our yard." By midnight, the system was armed and ready. Motion alerts active. Cameras rolling. I didn't have to wait long. It happened 3 nights later. A faint ping woke me, camera alert. I glanced at my phone. Motion detected. Front yard. 12:17 a.m. I opened the feed. There she was, Karen, sneaking along the fence line in her robe again, clutching that orange extension cord like contraband. She crouched, plugged her charger into the decoy outlet, and smirked. Inside, the circuit sensed the surge and armed itself. I whispered to Emma, "Showtime." For 5 seconds, everything was quiet. Then pop! A flash lit the garage like lightning. The Tesla's charging light flickered, then died. A thin trail of smoke drifted upward. Karen screamed, "Oh my God! My car! What did he do?" Her porch lights dimmed, and alarms started blaring. I stood at my window, pretending to be confused. Within minutes, flashing lights filled the street. Utility crew, police, half the neighborhood watching. Karen pointed at my house, shouting, "He sabotaged me. He's jealous." The officer frowned. "Ma'am, there's an illegal power line running from his property into yours. Did you have permission to use that outlet?" Karen froze. The neighbors gasped. I stepped outside, acting calm. "Officer, I have security footage if you'd like to see it." 10 minutes later, we all watched the clip on my phone. Her sneaking, plugging, smirking. Silence. The officer turned to her. "Ma'am, that's theft of utility services." Karen stammered, I didn't know." The utility tech added, "Also, your vehicle's charging unit is fried. Unauthorized connection. Warranty won't cover that." Karen's face turned white. She tried to blame me, but the officer just shook his head. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The fallout was glorious. The HOA board called an emergency meeting. Robert, the HOA president, looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. "We've reviewed the incident," he said stiffly. "Mr. Miller, it appears you were within your rights." Karen sat in silence, arms crossed, sunglasses hiding her humiliation. The board fined her $2,000 for unauthorized use of property and tampering with electrical infrastructure. On top of that, her Tesla's battery and charging system were toast. Nearly $9,000 in repairs, none of it covered. Within a week, the whispers started. Neighbors she used to boss around now crossed the street to avoid her. The queen of the HOA had become its cautionary tale. One afternoon, I found a note on my porch in shaky handwriting. "Apologies for the misunderstanding. It won't happen again. K." I showed it to Emma. She raised an eyebrow. "Do you feel bad?" "Not even slightly," I said. She finally paid her electric bill. A month later, Karen put her house up for sale. The new owners were quiet, polite, and kept to themselves. Exactly the kind of neighbors you want. The neighborhood feels peaceful again. The air smells cleaner without all that arrogance burning through it. I've learned that sometimes justice doesn't need a courtroom. It just needs a well-wired plan and a steady hand. People like Karen think rules protect them, but they forget that knowledge is its own power source. When someone drains your energy, you don't have to shout. You just flip the right switch and let truth do the rest. When someone steals your peace, don't fight dirty. Fight smart. Power isn't about how loud you yell. It's about how well you connect the wires. And that night, as Karen's Tesla smoked in her driveway, I realized karma doesn't need revenge. It just needs the right voltage.